On today's episode of Homeworthy, we are taking you on a tropical escape to Bermuda for a look inside architect Georgia Benevides' home. Georgia has fully embraced the opportunity for indoor-outdoor living that the island, which she has called home for more than 30 years, offers. Timeless and elegant design serves as the perfect backdrop to her stunning ocean views. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Like and subscribe for more.
Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Georgia. This is Tilly. Welcome to our Bermuda home and come right in. I'm Georgia Benevides, and we're in my house, mine and my husband's house and Tilly's house of 25 years, and we're sitting in our living room. So we're in Bermuda, which I've lived here for 35 years. My husband was born here, and I fell in love with it as soon as I moved here. And I came here 2 weeks after a hurricane, and everybody was apologizing, and it was just, to me, the most magical place on earth. So I feel very lucky to live here. I'm an architect who dabbles in interior design. So I think I'm mainly an architect. I'm trained as an architect. I went to the University of Houston Architecture School and have my bachelor's of architecture, and moved to Bermuda shortly after college, where I sat next to my husband, who's also an architect. And we started our firm 30 years ago when I was on maternity leave. And we've just been very lucky. We've been very busy, and I still, after all these years, love what I do a lot. Well, I'm from Texas, so believe it or not, I tried to marry a southern home with a Bermuda home. So that's how this house came about. And it was a really interesting lot because it was almost a cliff all the way down to the water. So it was a little bit of a challenge building this house, and as you know, the driveway is very steep. But I think this whole house started with the tall ceilings and what we call in the South a dog run, where you walk right through from the front door to the back door. And the columns. The columns are actually similar to a column I saw in Louisiana. And so I think that's kind of how the house came about. And I knew I wanted transoms, and I knew I wanted tall windows, and the ceilings are 11 feet tall. So there were a lot of things I wanted in this house, and luckily I got them, including wooden windows, which was a talk with my husband. Well, because they were a lot more expensive than the plastic windows. But there was no way I was going to go this far and do the plastic windows. So it worked out, and the windows were a fair chunk of change, but I think that they make the house. And they've held up really well, because I think a lot of people use these other types of windows thinking they're going to last forever. And honestly, we renovated a 300-year-old house that had the original windows, and we were able to rebuild them. So that's pretty impressive. So this is my entrance hall, and this is our stairs going upstairs. And I just always like having a bench in the entrance hall. And this is a bench I've got from British Khaki, who unfortunately I don't think he's in business anymore. But it's out of rosewood, and he was just like an amazing British colonial furniture, West Indies furniture maker. And then this is one of my paintings. And I love to paint, especially to fill in gaps around my house. And these are Ironwork International sconces, which I think were the first thing I bought. And I have these from Paris, actually, these lights that I love etched. Anything etched, I love it. And our staircase, I can tell you a really interesting story about the staircase. So the guy who made my staircase, this whole part he brought as one piece of wood, and he sat here and carved it for 4 days to make this one piece. Isn't that amazing? And then this is my living room. One thing you'll probably see is I do collect a lot of surf art. Well, I used to surf when I was young, before I got scared of sharks. So now my son surfs, but yeah, I just always thought it was a cool culture. So I started collecting artwork that was surf related when I was young. And then this is kind of a funny story. This is a spirit pole from Laguna Beach. And I was at an art gallery in Laguna Beach, and it's an aspen. It's supposed to give off good vibes, and you bought it in groups of 3. And I bought the 3, and I had to put a 30% deposit, and I came home and my husband hated it. So I had to keep the 30%, so I got one of the 3 spirit poles. And this is from the Bermuda Library. When the main library closed down, this was a library table that we got at auction, and it's one of my favorite things. I probably have way too many photos, but I just love all the memories, like the memories of my son when he was little, with his best friend, my aunt and my grandmother. And as you see, I collect heron. And when I got married, when I registered to get married, I actually registered for figurines instead of China. And so anyway, I have a lot of figurines.
How did your husband feel about that?
You know what? He was kind of okay with it. It didn't bother him. So I just kept going. And then I've always collected these leather photo albums that I keep all the scraps from when my baby was little, and his artwork and photos. And I have like 6 of them in this cabinet. So they're great. I mean, I've documented everything. So I just have, look, Mom, I hope you're feeling better. And then some kind of weird drawing. They're mainly my son. So this is actually my husband. Somebody gave this to me because my son and my husband had the same teacher, and they looked exactly alike. And he had this photo when they were the same age, and it was just funny. So I have everything. I mean, this is all his artwork. I have so much stuff in these photo albums, it's insane, and much more there. So I don't know what I'm going to do when he gets married and starts having children. So this is bone inlay, which I love, and I always like having a few bone inlay pieces around because I just think it's so pretty. And this is from India, and then these are photos. My mother's Cuban, and these are photos of my grandparents in Cuba, and these are my grandparents on the beach in Cuba. So I love these photos of that time and their life when it was kind of glamorous, and Cuba was a whole different thing than it is now, even though it is still beautiful. We had to live here 5 years before I was allowed to buy this. And this is from a company called Exquisite Surfaces, and I designed it to fit the opening. I wanted a really big fireplace. And actually, when we moved in, our son was this tall, and I have the cutest picture. I couldn't put my fingers on it right now, of him and like his friends standing here in the fireplace. It was very cute. But so 5 years later, I got this, and it took 8 guys to carry this in and hang it on the wall. I'm not sure how it's hung on the wall, but I love it. We use it a lot in the winter. So I'll light a big fire in here, and you can see, and it works. It draws. So we got this 5 years after we moved in, and then my mother unfortunately passed away, and she had like so many baby cups for me and my brothers, and my brothers didn't want any of the baby cups, and I just thought they were the most amazing thing next to heron figurines. And so I got, luckily, the guardianship of all the baby cups, which are sweet. Sometimes we'll have a dinner party and I'll put all the little flowers in the baby cups. But this is really pretty at Christmas because I light all the candles, and I have my Christmas stockings, and we'll put a big fire on. So it's a special fireplace. I love it. And the silver never stops. There might even be some silver hidden away places that's not on display. My mother also had all the sterling photo frames, which I've kept out and spent a lot of time cleaning. And this was my mother's Bombay chest. And my mother actually, this is the setup my mother had in her entrance hall in Houston. So she had this with that mirror. So I tried to keep that because I always thought that was cool when I walked in her house. Unfortunately, when it came to Bermuda, the humidity kind of got to the Bombay chest, but I'm working on that. So this is a backgammon board that I actually had made on Dixie Highway in Palm Beach. There's a store called the Rattan Shop, which unfortunately, I think about a year ago, Rick died. So Rick made the tables and his girlfriend Charlene made the decoupage. So I had her do surfboards and seashells. And then it was my idea actually to do the sand dollars as pieces. So I'm still working on the perfect combo for the dark ones, color, but the blue's good. My brother lives in Laguna Beach, so that's why I have a lot of artwork from Laguna Beach. But there's an artist there, David Kluver, who you'll see a lot of his photos around the house. I just think he does really clever stuff. And so I have a lot of his artwork. Okay, so more silver. I also, on top of the baby cups, got all the rattles. But this is my son's little shoe that I thought was so cute. This was my baby rattle. This is actually my mother's bell to call people at dinner. And then these are just other baby rattles and a little thing to hold your baby tooth. So I just love stuff like that. I think it's cool, and I kind of almost feel like it's a dying thing now. Like I don't see that many baby rattles, but I think they're sweet. It has the tooth fairy on the top. I was just going to point this out, but my husband was supposed to hang this on the wall, but it hasn't happened yet. But he was the Commodore at the yacht club through COVID, so that was interesting. And they just gave him this, which I thought was really sweet. So it's a Royal Bermuda Yacht Club's flag, and it's in a Bermuda cedar frame. So Commodore David Benevides during COVID. It doesn't say during COVID, but it was. So anyway, so I thought that was cool, and one day that will make it up on the wall, I hope. So we're going to go to the great room in a minute, but first I thought we'd go outside and see our beautiful backyard. Welcome to our backyard. So this is our huge porch that's 15 feet deep because I've decided over the years that 15 feet is what it takes to be able to sit out here when it's raining and not get wet. And it's 48 feet wide, and I set up 2 different tables because it gave me the option to have 12 people or 18 people. It just gave me a lot of options with the number of people I was having. I could have a small party or a big party. And I am having a party tonight, so I have started to set up flowers and started to set the table. And I have 2 different table settings. This is the way I normally have it with all these little pots. And then I have kind of a little nicer one over there. And I have the same, you'll see when you go in my great room, I have the same chairs inside that I do outside because it gives me some versatility. So I can bring the chairs from inside to outside. And I've had the same Lloyd Flander sage green chairs for 30 years. They work. So I have a whole bunch of them, and I've replaced them over the years, and some of these you'll see I probably should replace, but I'll get to that. So basically, I didn't want it to look like it was an outdoor space, and I didn't really want outdoor furniture. I didn't want that typical look of being outside. So that's why I keep a table here, and in the evening I'll put a lamp on the table, and I just feel like it makes it look like it's a living room, not just the porch. And even with the cushions, like I've never had proper cushions made for here because I feel like the loose cushions like this just give it a little more of a character. So it's not a bunch of fitted cushions, but it's still comfortable. This is not a heron bunny, but I am obsessed with bunnies, and I do have one penguin. But I do like this blue and white The pink and white china. I think it's cute for outdoor stuff. And I'm really into garden seats. So I have lots of garden seats. You'll see them in my den. I use them for everything because they're so versatile. You can sit on them or you can put stuff on them, and they're just really great. Tilly loves it here. She's a very happy little dog. She gets to run. We have an 1.5 acres, so we have a path that goes down to our dock, and she'll run halfway down and run all the way up, and then she's got her exercise for the day. So that part's really good, and it's a beautiful spot, as you can see, to sit out here. So this is our other table with our other grouping of chairs and a different candle situation. So this table I'll use if I'm wanting to do something a little more formal, and that table I use if I'm wanting to do something casual, or sometimes I'll decorate both of them exactly the same. And this is our pool area. This is where my son wants to get married. So he wants to be on the point here and have all the chairs along here. So we're working on that now. And then our pool area, this is where my husband and I sit a lot in the evening and have a glass of wine. So it's very hot. You need this pool. It's like 90 degrees today, I think, and 100% humidity. So it's a little sweltering. The pool's a little warm, but it's refreshing. So, and I have more garden seats over there, my Adirondack chairs, which are on their last legs, but they seem to keep hanging in there. This is an interesting Bermuda feature, the buttery. There's a lot of butteries around the island, and they used to actually be to make butter in. And so a lot of the old houses, especially the really old houses, the 300-year-old houses, will have a buttery where, because of the way the roof was configured, they thought it kept everything a little cooler inside, so people would store certain things in there. And that's a bell buttery. A lot of people don't do bell butteries, they do step butteries, but it's just a cool Bermuda detail. And this is the column I was talking about that I tried to copy a classic column I saw in New Orleans. And it was actually one of my first features of the house. Is I spent a long time getting the detail right on this column. And that column up there. And I did want the 2-story porch because I wanted to have a whole second floor space that I could use for something. And we do use it for entertaining. And when we go into the great room, you'll see the window behind you, but you can see that from inside, all opens up so that if it's a pretty day and it's not humid, that whole den room is part of this room. So it's really great. So now I'm gonna show you something really special. And we have a dock down here, and we have turtles. We just saw some turtles. And what we've done when we built these steps is we also put in what we're hoping is going to be a bee sanctuary and a butterfly sanctuary. So come on down to the dock. This is our dock. It's completely a work in progress, but we've just put the steps in. So now we're trying to clean it up and figure out how we want it to be. So we're going to try and straighten it up and figure out this coral, but it has a lot of cool things. That cove has a lot of turtles. This is a fish pot where the previous owner kept all his catch for the week. So down here, sometimes I have my rubber dinghy, but we've had it out for repair. So that I keep here, and I can drive it. It's only 15 feet, so I can drive it by myself with the dog. And sometimes on a night like this, we'll go out to that island out there that has one of the most beautiful beaches in Bermuda. It takes like 3 minutes to get out to the island, and we'll just go swimming. Yesterday, we saw an octopus. We saw 2 turtles yesterday. We saw 2 turtles today from up at our house. There's different kinds of fish. There's clownfish, bluefish. There's usually a ton of fish in here. There's coral, there's seahorses. We get a lot in this cove. This time of day, the sun's a little bit down, so you don't see the water as clearly, but in the middle of the day, you can see everything. And there's some amazing things in here. And I'm slowly I actually made contact with a guy who grows coral, and I'm trying to get him to put in a little coral field here, because I think that would be really cool. But because Harrington Sound's kind of protected, I think that's why we get so many great things in here. We don't have a lot of boat traffic. It's just a real beautiful body of water. So we bought this as a lot, and we were actually at a party on a hill right behind this. And I was standing next to a realtor, and I said, I really like this view. And he pointed at this lot that was full of boats. It was a boat storage. And it was all these different levels. And he said, that's for sale. And we bought it literally 2 days later. And then we started with how it was going to be, and I knew I wanted kind of a Georgian type house because Bermuda is a British colony and it's very British colonial. So that was part of what I was looking for, and I just wanted a little kind of slightly grand house that was southern. And anyway, it's been a labor of love. So we're in our kitchen now, which we actually just had repainted about right before COVID. But for 25 years, I think it's held up really well. It was built by the Amish, and we had it brought in. And I just think they did an amazing job. It's just really like there was no need to replace it. It was in such good shape. So it's definitely a piece of furniture, a great piece of furniture. We did a cherry butcher block countertop, which we had refinished at the same time, and it just came up beautiful. So for a week, I wouldn't let anyone touch it. And our floors are Ipe throughout the house. And we have, this is something, I'm not going to show it to you because it's a mess, but I have like a little coffee station in here. Then I keep my china up here, but most of my upper cabinets are glass because I just like that look. So I figure you might as well see the china even though I have it messy. I should have taken out some of that stuff, but it's fine. And this is just a little vignette I did. I always like having fresh citrus in the house. I have honey every day. We have a local honey person who does amazing honey. So I try and put a teaspoon of that in something every single day. It's just wonderful. And Bermuda, we're actually really lucky. There's a whole bunch, like this honey guy's young. He's not even 30. And he's come here and started this whole little business and has the cutest little label. And we have so many young people moving here doing so many amazing things. So I feel happy that there's an influx of Bermudians coming back and starting creative little businesses. This is my son surfing in Laguna Beach when he was 10. So I love having fresh flowers. I love having palm leaves like I have in the other room, but we do have a lot of Bermuda roses in our garden. So I like having the Bermuda roses in the yard. We do have a couple of hydrangea bushes, so we're lucky. Hydrangeas don't grow here really well. They have to be in a pot because there's something acidic about our land. But if you put them in a pot, we have 2 by the front door, and they're just one of my favorite flowers. But I love the Bermuda rose. I have more heron. I made a little bar for our dinner party tonight with, there's a Bermuda Gin Company, which is one of those young people who've moved back to the island. Gosling's rum has become worldwide renowned, but that's a Bermuda-based company. So I thought that was cool. I could not find a Bermuda-based tequila, but I think that's some kind of copyright thing with Mexico. These are this is my son and his best friend. These are, I used to collect when he was little, I collected marbles for him. And the coral's actually from a beach, Cambridge in Bermuda. So I have a ton of marbles, but those are my favorites. More heron. Me and my husband when we were in our 20s. We look so young. My son again in Laguna Beach. So again, I really like having some bone inlay in every room, even if it's just one piece. And so here you'll see in our master, here I have these Robert Kine chairs that I love. These are more of the Lloyd Flanders chairs that I have outside, which is, I think that is one of the best things I've ever done, is have all the chairs matching. It just makes it so versatile. You can take the chairs outside. Like I can rent another table the size of those two outside and have like a huge dinner party across the whole porch, which I've done. And with all the surf collecting, another thing I have whenever we move somewhere is I always have a surfboard. I like having a surfboard in the room. I think it's just kind of part of the whole thing with the surf culture. So I thought that was a pretty color. And I bought that in the States, and it just kind of sits there. It doesn't have to go to work. And then this is my book. So I did this with a friend of mine. We had the foreword by Michael Douglas, and he wrote a really nice foreword. He was very sweet about it, and all the money we made from this book went to a charity, a couple of charities, but mainly a charity called the Family Center that's here in Bermuda. So we actually did pretty well. We sold 3,000 books in 2 months, so we did really well. And it's there wasn't really a book like this in Bermuda, so we just like tried to do, like this is what we do every weekend. We do raft ups. And oh, this is an above ground water tank, so it just shows some of the cool old things that we have in Bermuda, and with pretty much every picture has people in it. So we wanted it to show Bermuda architecture, but also have people in it. And we're about to do another one. So, it was a really fun book to do. This is our house at night. So this is 12 years ago, back when I had my beloved Jack Russell. And this was just a dinner party we had, where I set both the tables up like I have now. And all the furniture is the same. This is a girl, Dana Cooper. Do you know Dana? She does these Lily Pulitzer-like things, like ties, and she's local. And I just had these recovered in Katie Ritter fabric, which I love. And so this is my new favorite addition to the house, is all this colorful stuff. I just had brown fabric before, which was not as happy. This is very happy. This is a checkerboard I made out of mosaics. I took a mosaic class and made a checkerboard. So, and then I went to a local shell company and bought all the shells. So it's kind of fun. Nobody plays it that much, but it's cute. I have more fresh flowers, more seashells, more garden seats. I love the garden seat. So this is my office. This is where I do my architecture, my interior design, and I paint in here, but it has a view. So it's a great place, and on a beautiful day I have both the doors open, and it's like I'm working outside by the pool, which is amazing. But right now I'm in the middle of a project where I am helping with the fabrics. So these are some of the fabrics and wallpapers that I'm using. I am always cutting things and doing different things, and I'm really into terrazzo these days. These paintings the paintings just don't really go anywhere. They just pile up. Because I do paint quite a bit, so hopefully my son will want them. You know, it's kind of funny because I think it's just really bits and bobs. I don't think there's one style here. I think it's very eclectic, and I think it's mainly things that I've just found over the years that I really like, and I'm lucky they go together because they wouldn't normally, I think, go together. So, and the colors, everybody has, I mean, our home, we kind of went for that gray look with dark green shutters, but that's a standard Bermuda color. White's a big color. Our house next door is a coral color. 2 doors down, there's a pink house. We try and stay clear of purple, but some people do purple. There's a lot of blue houses. I mean, there's every color. It's a very colorful island, and when you look out over like a hill or something and see all the different color houses, it's really special. So now I'm going to show you a terrace that we didn't really have to build, but I really wanted to build it. And it's funny, even though we don't keep furniture on it, it serves multiple uses. So when my son was little, we used it for a sleeping porch, and kids would have campouts here. And then as he's gotten older, we use this for entertaining. And last time we had a party here, we took both those benches and moved them so they were parallel and covered them in candles and had a huge table here and had like little bistro lights, and it was just amazing. The view from up here is it's like a whole different world space than downstairs. So I love this porch. And I'll sit up here and read, and it's just an amazing spot. So Bermuda's special. It's just the beauty. It's so beautiful. The water, well, when we go outside here, you can see the view, but the water here is just beyond. And I have turtles off my dock. We saw an octopus yesterday off the dock. I mean, it's just really, an amazing place. You're living in a sophisticated small town, but we have all the amenities of a big city, but we live on a tiny island where we can go snorkeling in 5 minutes. And it's just amazing. So this is our master bedroom, and this is one of the first beds we got. We had a little bed right before this, and it's from Ralph Lauren, and I just thought it was beautiful. And my husband painted the walls lilac. I wanted lilac walls. He used 3 different color lilacs, and he took a whole weekend to paint them, and I think he nailed it. I think he got the perfect color. And these are kind of an interesting story. These lamps, or these candelabras, are silver, but not for my mother. They're from Round Top in Texas, and I had them electrified. And while I was in Texas, I always got some cowhide lampshades. And so I think it's kind of cool, the whole silver with the lampshade. And then you'll probably notice we have no carpets because we go to the beach a lot. So I find no matter how much you clean your feet when you come from the beach, there's always sand. And I just want everything to clean up the sand as easy as possible. And as far as curtains, we have curtains in our master bathroom, and we have curtains here because the sun comes up right here. But we're really private. We're way up here, and we like going to bed and waking up seeing the view. At night, the view is all the lights on the harbor, and it's just, we love it. We love our view. And then this is, again, a bone inlay piece. I love having a bone inlay piece, and more heron, because why not? And this is a painting that I did that my husband hung up so you could see it. So this is our master bathroom, and it was modeled after a Chinese restaurant that used to be in New York called Chin Chin's that we loved because it had this dark molding all the way around the room, and then it had photographs all above the dark molding. So we made that into a bathroom. I added little bits and bobs, like this is a mess you're not going to see in there, but it's 2 feet deep, but it doesn't come into the room. So it goes into our closet, which is on the other side, and the same with the drawers. And that was to cover the toilet. It doesn't quite, but anyway. And back when we built this, limestone was really in style, and I actually still like it. And I think we were one of the first clients of Waterworks. So this is all Waterworks stuff, and it's held up really well. And one thing I really do like are these. I've used these in a lot of houses, the glass towel holders. I think they're so sweet. So, and we do a lot of pedestal sinks. And again, my husband, credit for the walls. he did this amazing blue using 4 or 5 different blues, and I think even a little brown. He's really good at it. And these are cool. These photographs are old Bermuda, and a girl found these old film, and she developed, I think, just 20 of each. And I think that they're really beautiful, like the old lily fields. Bermuda had some beautiful lily fields. People used to get around on horse and buggy. They're great photos. So, and then quadrille. Bermuda, the styles of the home are really interesting because we have a lot of things that are unique to Bermuda, and I don't know why more places don't do this. So every house here is made out of concrete block. We don't have wooden houses. So if a hurricane comes through, sometimes if it's a really bad hurricane, we always write it out. My husband insists on writing it out in the house. And sometimes I can feel the house vibrating, but I always know the house is going to hold it together. And the only thing that really damages the house is the odd tornado. But the homes here are so well built, it's just incredible. And then the other thing I think is really unique about Bermuda architecture is we catch all our rainwater. So we don't have water pumped to each home. Our whole roof catches the rainwater, and then our whole tank in the back holds the rainwater. It's 11 feet deep, and it holds enough water to last us through any drought. And so I feel like we're kind of self-circulating that way. And if I could talk my husband into buying a generator, we would be completely self-circulating. But sometimes we do lose power. But for the most part, our homes are just really well built and unusually built. And in Bermuda, you can see all the roofs are white because everybody's catching the rainwater. So we have to have a certain type of roof construction to make it safe to catch the rainwater. Home's everything. I mean, it's my sanctuary. It's where I stay. Like, I would rather stay home than go out 9 times out of 10. I just love being here. I think I'm very lucky after being in this house for so long. It's everything I love, and it's a happy place. I love when my son comes here. I love when we just have an evening at home. It's everything. I love home.
Thanks for watching. For more Homeworthy content, be sure to like and subscribe.